All right, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Bashem, Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and the truth. I just had a quick lesson. It's going to be entitled, Can Disciples slash the Elect Be Women? And according to the scriptures, truthfully, yes, women are going to be coined as the elect. The word elect is goes back to the word electos or eklektos, which means chosen. And when you go into Revelations, the 7th chapter, the chosen, you have the 144,000, which consists of all men. All right, that's the governing body of men. And you have the 1/3, which is also the chosen, which is going to be men, women, and children. So actually the ones that's going to be chosen through deliverance from Yahweh Shai is going to be men, women, and children. And this is going to be, the scripture actually supports that certain women are going to actually, be delivered. Now, as far as the office of the disciple, a disciplined student or a learner under Yahweh Shai's ministry, you had women that actually had a so-called office of learning under Yahweh Shai, but they didn't have the office of fully being prophets and full ministers and teachers as the disciples that you of course know of as James, John, Peter, those top disciplinarians that actually, followed Yahweh Shai and suffered wrongfully with Yahweh Shai and got crucified, got murdered, got beat, like it tells you in Acts the 5th chapter. But certain women were actually, housing the prophets, the men of the Lord. They would sometimes believe, such as Mary. They had a somewhat office of belief. So they would be, for lack of a better term, disciples by definition. They would be disciplined learners under Yahweh Shai. But the 144,000, the chosen under that line is all consist of men. The cusp and the major parts of this ministry is only given to men. That's why it's written, unto you, O men, I call. But you did have women at that time, that actually held a certain office, whether they took care of the prophets, let them house the prophets, made sure they had, nourishments and a safety, area of safety to dwell in. So I'm going to read this scripture right here. This is 2 John 1:1. The elder unto the elect lady and her children, whom I love in the truth, and not I only, but also they that know the truth. So this is Paul that's speaking unto the elect lady. The word elect goes into the word eklektos, which means the chosen lady. Now, like I said, she wasn't, when he was writing a letter unto the elect women, they didn't hold the office like the prophets, the men of the Lord. That's a whole nother body of work. Being the managers, the word manager means to provide for the house. They didn't manage the church of Israel back then. They had just had certain offices. That's why you read in Acts, if I'm not mistaken, the 6th chapter with the widows, the administration with the widows, because the widows and women were actually, they were in the midst. They wasn't, of course, teaching and things of that nature, but women were definitely, featured, so to speak, in the scriptures, and they had somewhat important. Well, they had important roles in the time of Acts, during the time of Paul and the disciples. So it says, for the truth's sake, which dwelleth in us and shall be with us forever. So that certain women know the fullness of the truth. They didn't understand the fullness of the breakdowns of reincarnation. They didn't understand the depths of these letters and these testimonials that the Spirit was, dwelling in Paul and the other disciples to break down. But they understood enough. All right. They understood mainly how to be women. All right. How to guide the house, like it tells you in Titus. It tells you in Timothy, the offices of a woman, to guide the house, to give none occasion for the adversary to speak reproachfully, to take care of your man, please and take care of your husband. That was the message for the women. And if they were to do so, then they would be delivered through the office of their man, because ultimately a woman is saved through childbearing. And another thing too is now, say for instance, a woman, she doesn't have a man that's in the truth. Can she be delivered? The answer is yes. You had certain women that were widows, just like during the time of Judith, which Judith, she would be one of the chosen in these days now. But during the time of Judith, she didn't have a husband. All right, her husband actually died. He could have been more than likely he was a man of the Lord, a man of upright integrity, and he passed, and Judith just held the office of a widow. But she was a woman of remarkable faith and integrity, so to speak. She had a level of integrity. She had a level of, a somewhat level of spirit dwelling with her. And that was enough that the Lord actually, dedicated a book and actually showed the faith and the belief that she had in the spirit of the Most High. So continuing on, I rejoice greatly that I found of thy children walking in truth, as we have received the commandment from the Father. So these women, they actually had children that walked in the truth. And now I beseech thee, lady, not as though I wrote a new commandment unto thee, but that which we had from the beginning, that we love one another. Right. Continuing on. And this is love, that we walk after his commandment. This is the commandment, that as ye had heard from the beginning, ye shall walk in it. For many deceivers are entered into the world, who confess not that Yahushua is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Look to yourselves that we lose not to those which we have wrought, but that which we receive the full reward. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Yahushua have not the Most High. He that abideth in the doctrine of Yahushua, he have both the Father and the Son. Right. So continuing on, if there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Right, because you have certain women that actually bid certain men of the Lord in their house, and they actually, helped out certain men of the Lord. They made their house like an open house for certain men to dwell in. You read that in the book of Acts. When Paul was on the go and he had to make his runs, he had certain women's houses that he was able to go into, and you had certain women that just had that spirit on them. But, John is actually writing and said, you got to actually see if men are teaching the right doctrine. And if they're not teaching the right teachings, don't let them come into your house, neither bid them Godspeed. For he that biddeth him Godspeed is partakers of his evil deeds. Having many things to write unto you, I would not write with paper and ink, but I trust to come unto you and speak face to face, that our joy may be full. The children of thy elect sister greet thee. Amen. Or Tuah. So, like I said earlier, women had a specific office. Mainly, their office was to guide the house, if they were in a relationship with a man of the Lord. But you had certain women that were widows that actually faithfully followed Yahushua, Mary, one prime example of a woman that actually, was a very, very aggressive follower of the Lord. She loved the Lord, and the Lord loved her. So Mary, and these women in these days, these women are, majority of them, bugged out. But there's going to actually be certain women that come out of that, because the primary cusp of people that's going to be saved are actually women and children, like Apostle Elder Gabar says. As far as we see, like, man, hey, these women ain't right, man. But it's going to be certain women, that's actually, play the background, that actually believe, that actually follow the apostles and the elders, great millstone, believe on the words of the apostles and the teachers and the men of great millstone, and see the truth and see the light coming from, and believe and stay in their light as a woman. They're not out clubbing and running the streets, basically playing the hoe. They're actually just following their office, taking care of their kids, and things of that nature. And if they continue on to the end and believe unto the Lord and stay with a faithful mentality, then deliverance and salvation will be for them also. This is a salvation that's going to be for ultimately the nation. It's not going to be like the Lord is just going to have 144,000 men that's just going to be in the kingdom of heaven. This isn't the book of Islam, man, where it's going to be, men and little boys. That's in the book of Islam, where it's little boys and men that's going to be in the kingdom of heaven. Now it's going to be women too. And what we're going to do with the women, it tells you that in Isaiah, the 4th chapter, how 7 women shall cleave unto one man. All right. Because even certain women, in the kingdom of heaven, even the apostles going into that, in the deliverance, if we're going to be changed, the women will also be too. We're not going to, us as a nation, when these laws is going to be written in our inwards, we're going to have a whole nother vessel for these laws, statutes, and commandments to be fully in our inward parts. And these women are too, So this whole thing is like it says, the blessing shall overtake us. That spirit of the curses, the spirit of these women having that divine hatred towards us, and we having a hatred towards our women. None of these things going to be no more in the scriptures. It speaks about how there's going to be no crying, there's going to be no sorrow and things of that nature in the book of Revelations. Everything is going to be complete bliss and harmony when Yahushua delivers us. That's when we're going to actually be a true nation, where we're going to be able to love and actually be able to fully embrace all of our people. And it's, we're not able to do that now because majority of our people are without this truth, and they're walking after the course of Satan, man. So this is Romans 16:1. I commend unto you Phoebe, our sister, which is a servant of the church, which is at Cenchreae, and Phoebe, which is a woman, she was a servant of the church. She, like I said, she had particular services. Certain women actually made garments. They were sellers of linen. They did certain things to actually supply the men of the Lord. Men of the Lord was in a bond. They would actually help them out. So they actually would serve the church, that ye receive her in the Lord as becometh saints, and that ye assist her in whatsoever business she have need of you. So these certain women, they had a certain office as a servants, and Paul is basically saying to receive her, and assist her if she have need of you, for she hath been a succor of many. The word succor means supporter of many. So she helped out a lot of men of the Lord, this woman Phoebe, and of myself also. Greet Priscilla and Aquila, my helpers in Yahushua, who have for my life laid down their own necks, unto whom not only I give thanks, but also all the churches of the Gentiles. Likewise greet the church that is in their house. Salute my well-beloved Epaenetus, who is the firstborn of Achaia unto Yahushua. Greet Mary, who bestowed much labor in us, right? Which Mary is another woman, and she was known to bestow labor according to the ministry. Like I said, these women didn't go to the highways and byways. They wasn't out, preaching, catching the hell as Paul, basically being on the run with the disciples. They just had they did certain labors. They supported, they paid tithes, they helped to the best of their ability for the church to actually flow in like a well-oiled machine, man, in perfect harmony. So it says, salute Andronicus and Junia, my kinsmen, my fellow prisoners, who are of note among the apostles, who also were in Yahushua before me. So these individuals, Andronicus and Junia, were very, very important. He said they were among the apostles before even, Paul became a apostle or disciple under Yahushua. Greet Amplias, my beloved in the Lord. Salute Urbane, our helper in Yahushua, and Stachys, my beloved. Salute Apelles, approved in Yahushua. Salute them which are in Aristobulus household. Salute Herodian, my kinsman. Greet them that be of the household of Narcissus, which are in the Lord. Salute Tryphena and Tryphosa, who labor in the Lord. Salute the beloved Persis, which labor much in the Lord. Salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother and mine. Salute Asyncritus, Phlegon, Hermes, Petrobus, Hermes, and the brethren which are with them. Salute Philologus and Julia, Nereus and his sister, and Olympus, and all the saints which are with them. Right, and a lot of these individuals were women and men that were actually getting saluted by Paul, because he ran into a lot of women that, believed, just like Yahweh Shah ran into a lot of women and believed. And then that's why Yahweh Shah always said, through your faith, you shall be healed. So, certain women had some level of belief. A woman in her natural spirit, she's naturally effeminate, which the word effeminate means without faith. But you had certain women that actually believed Yahweh Shah, believed on Yahweh Shah, and through their belief, Yahweh Shah healed them. And these individuals are here now, sick, and this last captivity, poor, wretched, naked, without support in the so-called government, and prisoners of hope, and waiting for deliverance and salvation. And Yahweh Shah hears the cries of all of us, and he's going to deliver us. And that's why there's going to be such a great great deliverance, getting delivered out of this captivity, because this is going to be bigger than a deliverance of Egypt. You got to remember, in Egypt, the Egyptian captivity was men, women, and children that got delivered through that captivity. And this is going to eclipse Egypt, 100-fold. So it's going to be a lot of people that's actually going to be delivered from this harsh captivity. And this is that's the main point. Have other individuals that's greeted. A lot of individuals, this is really the main point in Romans, the 16th chapter, individuals that helped push and structure, the church, whether it was certain women that actually served, directly, that actually knew Paul and actually housed, the disciples and fed them and gave them water to drink, put money in their pockets, and things of that nature, or the men actually that actually did the heavy part of the work, which is the ministry, going to the highways and byways, the highways and hedges, pushing the word, getting persecuted in the Rome and the different areas in the cities, because it was working hand in hand. So this is Revelations 7, and I'm going to jump to the main point, Revelation 7. Bear with me. Matter of fact, Revelation 7:2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, for they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Right, so that's the main point I want to really read, and it speaks about the 12,000 from each tribe, from Judah all the way down, Judah all the way down to Benjamin, and that it equals up to 144,000, and that 144,000 is going to be all men. All right, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So the multitudes which no man could number, they were all nations, kindreds, and peoples and tongues. And they said that they wore white robes. The robes represents turning to the fullness of righteousness. Whether they came out of Greece, whether they're in Egypt, it tells you that in, if I'm not mistaken, Isaiah 11th chapter. All right, in Rome, over there in Asia, Europe, the great multitude of individuals, they're going to actually be in these different countries, continuing on, and palms in their hands, and cry with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. So the 1/3 which of the Apostle Ramla was going into too, the 130 and 144,000 is mainly here in America, but you have the great multitude that's going to be delivered all throughout the world, and it tells you that also in Matthew 24 and 40, which I'm just going to hit the point. This is Matthew 24, and matter of fact, I'll start at 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, one shall be taken, and the other left. The word field represents the world. All right, so it's going to be somebody actually working in the field, and one shall be taken and another left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and another left. So that represents deliverance. One woman is going to be delivered via chariots, and another is going to be left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord doth come. Right, so we have to watch as well as pray, as the scripture says, because the Lord is going to come as a thief in the night. All right, and he's going to come with a great deliverance. And matter of fact, I want to hit this scripture because this is very, very important, to really get to the point of the position of a prophet. All right, because you also even had prophetesses, which the prophetess, they would actually receive divine dreams from the Most High through sleep, and they would wake up and, of course, declare it unto certain men. The men would interpret it, and the men would go to the highways and byways and declare it, or actually show that it's actually linking up with biblical prophecy, showing that, that's actually prophecy, and it's the Spirit of the Lord that actually, fell on that vessel, as it is written in Acts, the 2nd chapter, because this the times that we living in. The Lord said he's going to pour out his Spirit upon all flesh. All right. But the office of where the prophets prophesy, which is the highways and byways, that setting is only given unto men of the Lord. And this is Proverbs 8:1. Does not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. So the Lord is dealing with men when it comes to the office of crying on the highways and byways and the top of the high places. Even the office of a watchman. Another word for a prophet is a watchman. So when men of the Lord actually, back in the ancient world, were watchmen, where they would stand on the top of the tower and they would watch for the evil to come, they would blow that trumpet. It was only men that were actually watchmen. You don't have watch women. All right. Women don't take up the office of watching the news and linking up the prophecies and getting into the scriptures and getting into the history and getting into all these deep points of the scriptures. At the end of the day, these women are just going to be delivered through childbearing, man. It's as simple as that. Even though these women, it is going to be women that's going to actually, believe, at the end of the day, majority of these women are just going to be delivered through actually having a man that's a man of the Lord, and those 7 women that's going to cleave onto that one man, which represents completion. And this is 1 Timothy 2:12. But I suffer not a woman to teach. Matter of fact, verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. All right. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. Right. Just like these different women that Paul even actually spoke of, they were known as women of silence. They wasn't usurping authority over the churches. They were servants under the churches. All right. The women that actually didn't have men and things of that nature. But the women that had men, it speaks about them to actually learn up under their man. All right, going to go up under their man for the knowledge of the Lord and fall up under his rule or his subjection. All right, continuing on. For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So the woman's office is to continue in the faith and charity and holiness with sobriety, being sober-minded and taking care of their man. and they'll be delivered through just childbearing and ultimately, walking that straight and narrow, playing the part of a woman, which the word woman just means female servant. So, that's all I had for you, Akim. Hopefully you brothers was edified, and of course, if it may be a woman or two that actually, sees this, but, want to end it by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Akim.